betrayed Allah and His Messenger? Why have you betrayed the Quran? Why have you betrayed the truth which has come from Allah? Just to eat biryani and go home and sleep and forget how to think? You've lost the capacity to think. That's what they did. This also is riba. Because the Prophet said, if you meet a man coming to the market to sell his goods, and you buy his goods from him outside of the market, and when he enters into the market, he finds he could have gotten a better price, that's riba. Why? You ripped him off. He was not aware of the market price, and you exploited his ignorance of the market price to buy from him at a price less than the market price. That man wouldn't want to do business with you again. That man wouldn't want to even shake hands with you again. You ripped him off. The Prophet said that is riba, a rip-off. This also is a rip-off. Something happened, and it happened only once in history. And so you have to be deaf and dumb and blind and like cattle to miss it. Allah spoke of a town or a city in the Quran, and He destroyed it, and He expelled the people, and He placed a ban on them. You can never return to this town or city. Hatta, until a certain event. What is that event? إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ. When Gog and Magog are released, this is not hadith, this is Quran. This is not hadith, this is Quran. And respect for the Quran is required. You must go first to the Quran. Until Gog and Magog are released. But Gog and Magog are so powerful that in the Hadith al-Qudsi we are told that none but Allah can destroy them. They have a power which none but Allah can destroy them. That's how powerful they are. So when Gog and Magog are released and they spread out in all directions, then you'll see these people being brought back to this town. We use our methodology to recognize the town as Jerusalem. Read my book, Jerusalem in the Quran, which is outside. But when Gog and Magog are released, would you kindly put on your thinking caps for once in your life? When Gog and Magog are released, and they are unique people, because Allah has created them and given them a power which none but He can destroy. And when they are spread out all over the world, it means that a new actor will appear on the stage of the world, unlike anything that came before him. An absolutely new phenomenon in history. And He'll sweep the world, take over the whole world. And after He's taken over, Gog and Magog has taken over the whole world, then you see the Jews being brought back to the Holy Land. Since this is a one-time event in history, it never happened before, it won't happen again in the future. You've got to be deaf and dumb and blind not to recognize it when it happens. So how come the Darul Uloom couldn't recognize it? Up to this day, the Darul Uloom cannot recognize it. It has already happened. They already came out. They already spread all over the world, including India. They took control of the world. And then they brought the Jews back to the Holy Land. And they restored the state of Israel in the Holy Land. This is Gog and Magog. The people of power. And when they came and they defeated us, Tipu Sultan put up a fight. I don't know what kind of fight the Aga Khan put up. And sometimes my language is a little bit bitter, yes. And a number of people got knighted for supporting them. Sir this and Sir that and Sir that and Sir that. Yeah. The name Sir before your name now, for your support. The British won't give you the knighthood unless you've done something forbidden. The British will not give you the knighthood unless you've done something forbidden. Then, what did they do? Before decolonizing, withdrawing the armed forces, they ensured that they took gold and silver out of the market and replaced it with bogus and fraudulent and utterly haram substitute money. Then they decolonized. And now they are ruling over you by proxy. They don't need to send the Marines to Venezuela. No. They can have the Venezuelan economy in shambles without sending a single American Marine into Venezuela. Yeah. Because they created this so-called monetary system, which is not taught in your Darul. And yet Mufti gave fatwa. Oh yeah. They started off with a monetary system in which they said one paper money, they call it currency. One currency has a link with gold. And that was the US dollar. And that is that the US dollar will be redeemable in gold at $35 an ounce. This is in Bretton Woods, this is in the International Monetary Fund, the Articles of Agreement. How much? $35 US will be equal to 1 ounce of gold, 1 troy ounce. But you and I cannot redeem our dollars for gold, only governments can do that. And the rest of the world of paper money have no link with gold at all. Rather, you have your value in relation to the US dollar. This monetary system was 99.9% haram. And yet I hesitate to mention names. Of the learned and distinguished ulama who gave fatwa that this was halal. That's right. I hesitate to mention names. But there were those ulama in India. India was the most important Muslim community in the world of Islam was in India at that time. The Indian scholars of Islam excelled. I have done my history, I don't know whether you've done your history. And there were those scholars of Islam in India who stood up courageously. But they were like voices crying in the wilderness. I know many masajid would have closed their doors on that. Yes. And these men of integrity and of knowledge, they said this is bogus, this is haram. Today their names are forgotten. That's right. Their names are forgotten. But I'm sure that their grave must be filled with no, because they did not betray the people. No. So they started off like that. And so the system was 99.9% haram. If you can't understand that, and you are confused, it's not my problem, it's yours. Your problem, not mine. I am explaining the subject with clarity and simplicity. And then came 1971, when Richard Nixon, I'm cutting because of time, abandoned the monetary system and said we will no longer redeem US dollars for gold. Why? Because they were scared. They had printed more paper than they had gold. That's why. And so from 1971 to 1974, for 3 years, the US dollar was in a precarious situation, vulnerable, no man's land. It could collapse because the backed by nothing. Nothing. And then in 1974, after the war of 1973, Henry Kissinger pulled off the biggest rip-off in all of history. Yes. While our scholars of Islam were eating their biryani and going home and sleep. And they're still doing it up to this day. They're still doing it up to this day. He went to Faisal and he made a deal. Faisal had only peanuts in his head, may Allah forgive him. And Faisal swallowed the bit. Kissinger said, we will protect your kingdom, guarantee you. All that you have to do is to make a deal that you will not sell your oil, Saudi oil, for anything else but US dollars, to protect the US dollar from collapse. And since oil is the biggest commodity traded in the world market, if you could get the rest of the Arab oil producing countries to come on board, and if you could get OPEC to come on board, the US dollar survives. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Indeed, the US dollar became a petrodollar. And the US dollar was now flying much higher than it ever flew before. And the Americans are becoming more and more wealthy than ever before. And the Europeans holding on to the American coattails are piling up their Mercedes-Benz motor cars and